foreskin wrapped tree, drum did dream, and it dreamed we. Drum no wait for build a come, it echo deep in womb of sun. Each boom here was dream unfurled, it be the shape of the world. No dancer yet, no rhythm crew, still drum imagine sky and do. Each stone it drop become a tree, each silence all infinity. The drum that dreamed the world, drop beat and time unfold.
And welcome to the show. Had a quick little intro. I think GANDALPH had a couple things you may need to fix on the Rumble. And on there, okay, there goes one. Welcome to the show. It's September 4th, 2025. Just a few days away from a book. Away, oh. Hope everybody had an amazing day. I hope we want to thank everyone for being here with us tonight, and look forward to the show. Got to bring. I got GANDALPH working on a few things in the background right now, trying to get the rumble corrected on his end. Looks like. Nadine, how's the weather in New York?
The thunderstorms are supposed to start. I enjoy them, so it doesn't bother me.
Yeah, we're supposed to have some storms or some rain coming. I think they're saying some hurricane is supposed to come and curve, go up, I guess, through Mexico and curve and hit Texas and Oklahoma. Maybe a lot of rain coming. Not worried about it. I like it when it rains too, don't you?
I do.
Right?
Some as it's not too hard.
Did you find it? So we got a pretty good show prepared for us tonight. A little bit of everything. A little bit of corruption and insider stock trading.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Military checkpoints, checking people's, make sure they got for traffic violations. That doesn't even make any sense. We got a few things that we have looked into since the Thomas Massey interview yesterday with the women that were victims that are now women, 40-something years old, but they were, you got to keep in mind when you're looking at those grown women, those were 15 and 16-year-old little girls at one point, somebody's daughter, not even graduated out of high school yet. So, but it has taken that long for us to get this far for people to call it a hoax, right? So if it wasn't a hoax 5 years ago, it wasn't a hoax 10 years ago, it wasn't a hoax 15 years ago. So that's where we're at. So we got a few things, people holding some positions here that once stood for transparency are now all of a sudden against transparency. I don't know why. Everyone's trying to figure that out. We also got some information on Air Force Space Force Command headquarters being moved to Huntsville, Alabama. We're going to go over that as well. Let me get down here real quick. That's a sucky picture. Anyways, I should have got a better picture of that. So, real quick, we talk a lot about transformers and transforming and transmuting and transhumanism, transgender. But I wanted to bring just a little piece real quick on transformation in the Bible, right? It refers to a fundamental change in the inner nature of a believer, leading to a new spiritual life and conformity to the image of Christ, a process initiated by God through the Holy Spirit, requiring a human response of faith and participation. So there's key biblical verses such as Romans 12:12-2, right? And Corinthians 3:1-8 describes the renewing of the mind and the metamorphosis as a continuous process of becoming a new creation through the indwelling Holy Spirit. So the nature of biblical transformation and interchange, unlike mere behavioral changes or improved actions, transformation is a profound change of one's very nature, originating from a renewed mind and heart. It is a dynamic process initiated by God, often described as a divine life within. Believers that facilitate this inner shift, human responses, believers ought to cooperate with God's work through faith, prayer, praise, and incorporating Christ into their lives as a spiritual nourishment. So you got biblical foundations and key verses like Romans 12:2, like we read earlier. Do not conform. So you can, and that's why we say, are you transforming or are you conforming? Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is and his good, pleasing, and perfect will. Right. 2 Corinthians 3, chapter 3, verse 18. But we all, with unveiled face, beholding as in a mirror the glory of the Lord, are being transformed in the same image from glory to glory, even as by the Spirit of the Lord. Right. 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 17. Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, the new creation has come, the old has gone, and the new is here. That's the process of transformation. Transformation begins with receiving and becoming new creation through spiritual rebirth. So through the Holy Spirit, the believer's mind is continually renewed, allowing them to discern God's will and live in a way that reflects his character, right? So that's transformation, being a transformer instead of a conformer. Here's a couple of people that have switched stances over the last. Go ahead. Oh, you sent it? Okay. Marsha Blackburn. Why is Marsha now suddenly silent? And you look it up, she takes money from AIPAC. They all do. But even when Senator Durbin and Democrats try to stop me, she says, I will never stop fighting for transparency for the American people, and release the Epstein files now. This was January 30th, 2025. This is a few months ago. As soon as Trump got in, 10 days later,
Yeah.
we were supposed to be bang, bang, bang. And then all of a sudden the brakes got hit, right? Didn't they?
Yeah.
So did you know that Marsha Blackburn's district has a huge broadcasting base? The Home Shopping Network lives within that environment. And there are more DOD dollars spent on the intelligence side within that Knoxville environment, all the way up into Chattanooga, that the CIA and the Mockingbird media, a huge amount of the video production is done within Blackburn's district. So she is a very important pivot in the misinformation war. And everyone sees her as a good guy, but yeah, you said it. She takes AIPAC money. Anyone with dual citizenship and AIPAC money, they can't be a good guy. It's impossible. They're kid eaters.
Thank you, Gandalph, for helping me with that. That's what I'm trying to bring exposed here, and that people should understand that. That way they know, especially when you go into a voting booth and you're supporting them like that blindly. But here's another one. Gandalph, you ever heard of the dog turd? The guy on it?
Cat turd.
What?
Cat turd.
Oh, Joe,
I mean,
cat turd. Yeah, I've heard of cat turd. A dog turd is called an Arkansas brown trout, a lake trout. But yeah, so yeah, but
Yeah, not
yes,
that
cat
guy.
turd. Cat turd
This is the-
has been really. He's been turning into exposing a bunch of the people that are in the misinformation side. You know, watch who you follow, right? Yes, cat turd. I'm familiar with cat turd.
Yeah. So Cat Turd's pissed off at Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massey. But 2 years ago, he was pretty much had the same stance as Marsha Blackburn and Don Jr. and everybody else. But right here, he says Thomas Massey and Marjorie Taylor Greene don't have the guts to come out and falsely call President Trump a pedophile. So they went out yesterday and invited leftists to do it for them. So apparently he didn't catch all the bombs that were dropped and the donors that were in the black book. That's not what he's focused on. He's mad at the fact all of a sudden, it doesn't make any sense. But Emerald right here, she says, that's funny. So now you don't want the Epstein files released, and now Marjorie Taylor Greene is the problem? My friend, it's time to stop taking money to say dumb shit online before you destroy your good name forever. So here we got here's John Paulson, one of the top donors in the Black Book, according to Senator Thomas Massey. He's funded him, and Harry Lutnick, Epstein's neighbor, has funded stuff for Trump. So that's what's going on. Here we have, this was Cat Turd, 3/15/2023. I got it right here. Just so you know, we now have a FBI and a DOJ who's protecting every single rich, powerful, and famous person who went to Jeffrey Epstein's rape island. Our country can't survive a government who protects pedophiles over victims because they're rich and powerful. These agencies are beyond repair. They absolutely sicken me. Okay. But here we have, this was his stance 2 years ago, and this is his stance now. Totally opposite of where he stood 2 years ago. I guess he drank too much of the Kool-Aid and didn't realize that the shift took place. That we're all supposed to come together for the children and not for political personas or people. We're supposed to stand for something, or we're going to keep falling for everything. I stand with the children. I don't give a shit who's on the list. I don't give a shit who's on it. But I guess Daddy Trump told Cat Turd that if he continues exposing or asking for the Epstein files, then he's weak. So instead of looking weak, I guess he's still looking, now he's really looking weak. This is weak, especially when.
So we talked about this. We talked about this last night. You know, this shell game of information is unending.
Yeah.
Stop. The only thing that Washington produces is strongly worded letters. You know, Trump is trying to push EOs into the Congress, but this is the least effective and actionable Congress that we've had. Well, I think since the Kennedy administration. So that, you know, they keep pushing the porridge around the table here, trying to see who's going to eat it. And the information news cycle is breaking down. It's too fast. There's too much coming forward. They can't keep their narrative straight. I think we did a really good job of talking about the narrative war last evening. If you haven't seen that show, you should go back and look at it. But my point is that whether it's MTG or whether it's cat turd flipping, you know, there's a flipping cat turd joke in there somewhere. But the litter box is all the same, right? So that our ability to discern between something that is a valuable piece of information that might have an impact on our lives and something that is just part of the narrative war that takes our energy away, I think that's part of the expose of cat turd flipping, because everyone's flipping. I mean, which shiny thing are we supposed to follow?
Right. Which laser light?
You know what I'm trying to say? Discernment. And yes, exactly. Exactly. Isn't it? Is it going on the cliff or climbing the wall? Stop chasing the shiny thing and understand the messaging that we're attempting to give here. Love and light. Love and light, baby.
Yeah. So Nick was like, well, what the hell changed, Cat Turd? And Cat Turd, because this was in 23 of March, it says arrest every single famous pedophile who participated on the Epstein rape island. Every last one. So it's like, I don't know what took place here. I kind of know because he was told or they were told. I don't know if he's funded or whatever, whoever he's funded by, that's his business. But if it affects your being able to tell the truth, then you are controlled opposition. You're controlled. You can't speak the truth because you have to fall in line, or else you lose the funding, or the invite to Mar-a-Lago. You know, maybe that's what it is. You don't want to, because you built your whole platform on a persona, and not, for the common good of. I think that's where his heart was, and I believe that's what he wants. But right now, it's really, really suspect the position that he once stood, and we all stood together on the same position when Biden was in office, and then we switched when Trump gets in office, and it's totally opposite of what we stood for the last 4 years. So it's this whole process, and I guess that's why it has to take so long. I don't know. It still seems to there's a lot more lessons to be had. Moving forward, are we really about saving the children and women being trafficked, or are we about political power? These guys didn't show up to the Epstein testimonies either, but everyone thought that was kind of conspicuous that they were absent since they showed up to the White House to get these binders. They didn't show up to get the testimonies. So that was another one. So we have MAGA has shifted in 2020 to 2024. They wanted Epstein's client list are going to prison. This is what we were saying. Everyone on Epstein's client list is going to prison. We were saying abolish the IRS. We were saying every gun law is an infringement. And then we were saying no new wars, right? Mm-hmm. But then now it's like, you didn't care. This is what they're saying now, because of this is what they're being told to say. You didn't care about Epstein when Biden was president. And then they say, instead of abolishing the IRS, they're like, now we're like, tax and imports will fix the economy. And then the other one is, instead of standing on your gun rights as we were for the last 4 years, now it's like, well, red flag laws will stop mass shootings. And then now we're like, instead of no new wars, we're in full support of a regime change in Venezuela and Iran. So it's like, if you don't stand for something, you're going to fall for anything. And it's sad to see that. It's sad to see that people just have been manipulated and forgot to unplug from the propaganda. They don't realize that the Smith-Monk Act is in full effect. So I just wanted to bring those things
Sheepdog,
up.
Sheepdog, will you talk about Smith-Munn for a second? Because the Mockingbird media was licensed and deployed to mislead the citizenry, and Smith-Munn is the pivot for that. Will you talk about that for a minute? Because I don't know that everybody knows what that is.
Well, it was used back in the 40s for propaganda to be used overseas, so that they wouldn't know what was really going on here, right? You just feed them a bunch of propaganda, and you don't know what's really going on in China because they're feeding us propaganda. Same thing is what we did starting right after World War II, I guess, 1940s. But under Obama in 2012, they made it legal for the propaganda to be used on the people here, and Congress unanimously voted yes for it across the board. So ever since then, the last, what is it? How many years is that? 15, 20 years, right? So for the last 15, 20 years, you've been getting propagandized, and that's why the PSYOP's still running the way it is, and that's how they get away with it legally. So that's why if you notice during Obama how the media they're no longer, you used to Not like somebody said in the chat earlier, our TV announcers used to not have a bias, right? Now it's like they all have an agenda. They're not giving us the information we need so that we can make a decision. They're telling us what to think,
How to think, yeah.
and how to think and what to do, and who we should support and who we should hate, and who the enemy is, et cetera, et cetera. But let me read a little bit on it real quick. So the U.S. Information and Educational Exchange Act of 1948, Public Law 8040-402, popularly called the Smith-Mundt Act, was first introduced by Congress by Carl E. Mundt from San Diego, Republican, in January 1945. In the 79th Congress, it was subsequently passed by the 80th Congress and signed into law by President Harry S. Truman on January 27, 1948. No pun intended. The act was developed, see right there, the Truman Show. He's the 33rd, well, as the 34th. Sorry, I thought he was the 33rd. Okay, Harry Truman was the 33rd president. Okay, there's your 33, Harry, the Truman Show, Smith-Mundt Act, all propaganda, it's fake. The act was developed to regulate broadcasting of programs for foreign audiences produced under the guidance by the State Department, and it prohibited domestic dissemination. So it used to be illegal for them to produce it here. So domestic dissemination of materials produced by such programs as one of its provisions. The original version of the act was amended by the Smith-Mundt Modernization Act of 2012 under Barack Obama, which allowed for materials produced by the State Department and the Broadcasting Board of Governors, BBG, to be made available within the United States.
Nice. And that's why you don't get any real news anymore. From the
So
outlets.
the extension of this lesson is that when you go to someone and you say, whatever truth, here's my truth, okay? And they say, well, that can't be true because otherwise I would have heard it on the news. Well, since 2012, the news has been weaponized against us, and it was uncovered during the Doge engagement that USID was paying 9,000 journalists across every country. Every major news channel in every country was being paid by USID, our tax dollars, to go engage with a narrative. So people say, well, why doesn't it ever show up on the news? Well, that's why.
Yep.
Because they're bought and paid for. And Barack Obama, the Manchurian candidate of choice for our generation, made it legal.
Well, nobody's had the balls to repeal it, though, since.
Well, maybe they're using it
to do what they're doing now.
Their APAC handlers won't allow them. It's that deep. It's that deep. That's the big truth. It's a big club and we're not in it.
They had to get it ready for the pandemic. 2015, Bill Gates was talking about a pandemic for then 3 years later, Bill Gates was talking about a future pandemic in the next administration, which was Trump or Clinton. It was going to be one of the two, right? But they knew Trump was going to get it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, come on now. We know it's an election, not an election. But here we go. We got the original legislation authorizes the U.S. State Department to communicate to audiences outside of the borders of the United States through broadcasting face-to-face contacts, exchanges, including educational, cultural, and technical, the publishing of books, magazines, and other media communication and engagement. Funding for these activities comes from other legislation passed by the U.S. Congress called appropriations. The legislation was introduced into the House Committee of Foreign Affairs in January 1945. Well, we're not going to go to that. I want to show you that the vote when Obama was in there, how every one of them okayed it.
Yeah,
so that
probably knew this time was coming.
So
yeah, they could.
Well, they did the same thing Hitler did, right? whether you want to, whatever version of that you want to believe, but according to the history that we're told, right, we're taught, they're pretty much they took some pointers from that and have used it on us since we've been here, right? So, what is that? Yeah. Well, here's another one you're going to like, Gandalph. You'll like this one. This is you know how much money they made during when pandemic took place, how much money they made on the stock market?
$8 billion. $8 billion was made by Big Pharma.
Is wrong fundamentally.
$8 billion. Is that your final answer?
Yes, Monty. I'll take the over on $8 billion.
Okay. You don't want to phone a friend?
Phone a friend.
You remember that?
Yeah.
When people think of the best investor in the world, the person who knows the stock market best.
Oh, every politician is like the best investor ever in history. Because for some reason, when they get in there, they tend to make millions of dollars on the stock market. I don't know what it is. I have no clue what it's just a natural talent they're
They
born
often
with.
think of Warren Buffett. Buffett regularly beats the market with his investments, netting about a 19% return, which is pretty good. If you put your money in an index fund, you'll often get about 10% a year. So Warren Buffett nearly doubles that. Not bad. But there is one group that beats the market by even wider margins, taking in massive profits. They aren't math geniuses. They aren't experts in statistics, and they aren't using an algorithm developed by some tech startup. And they don't work at a stock exchange on the trading floor. They work here, on the floor of Congress. They're your elected representatives, and they are beating the market by margins that make even Warren Buffett look like an absolute chump. We get questions from you, our audience, quite a lot about how members of Congress get so rich. After all, they have a fixed salary. They can't have a bunch of income on the side or just have another job. Turns out the answer is a little boring. It's mostly be rich already before you're elected to Congress, have a rich spouse, and maybe write a weird book. But there's another big part of the answer, and it's all of this. Play the stock market and do it better than almost anyone
Hold on,
else.
I need to get that
So
book.
how are members of Congress doing this? Did we accidentally maybe write a weird book?
I need that book.
But there's another big...
Did you get that book, Gandalf? Have you read it?
Weird book.
have a rich spouse and maybe write a weird...
No, I did not read that book because I can't handle Ted Cruz. But thank you for asking.
book. But there's another big part of the answer, and it's all of this. Play the stock market and do it better than almost anyone else. So how are members of Congress doing this? Did we accidentally elect generationally talented stock traders, or is something else happening here beneath the surface? This is a look at how members of Congress get rich through some of their most suspicious recent stock trades and what, if anything, can be done about it.
And the reason for all of this is that, quite frankly, members of this body are privy to information that the normal person just is not.
So again, we have plenty of protections. We have the disclosure. This is a completely unnecessary piece of legislation.
We signed up for this job. We knew what the pay was. It isn't a, we're going to pay you this much plus corruption.
How many people in the audience, how many of you don't want to make money? Anybody want to be poor? I don't.
We know.
I'm going to take you back to February 2020. At this point, nobody in the public really knows just how bad this whole coronavirus thing would be. But if you were a U.S. Senator who sits on the Intelligence and Health Committees, like Richard Burr, who gets confidential briefings on threats to the U.S., you might have a pretty good idea of what's coming. Publicly, at the time, Burr seemed confident this COVID situation wasn't that bad, that the U.S. was ready. On February 7th, he wrote an op-ed for Fox News saying just as much. But on February 13th, just a day later, Burr was dumping his entire portfolio, selling off a ton of stock, potentially up to $1.7 million worth. But here's the thing. He did all of this while the market was at an all-time high. Why would he do that? Maybe because he was receiving closed-door briefings telling him this virus was going to be bad for the U.S. economy in a big way. And soon after, the market did crash, the economy did shut down, and Senator Burr miraculously dodged the financial ruin that many of his constituents felt at that time. Now, if you're thinking to yourself, that sounds like it should be illegal, I had the same reaction, and you would be right. Sort of. You see, in the United States, we have laws against what we call insider trading.
The buying and selling of stock by corporate insiders who have access to non-public information that could affect the stock price can be a criminal offense.
Now, I don't work for the FBI, but to my untrained eye, this looks a lot like a politician using his insider knowledge to dump his entire stock portfolio before a market crash, all while assuring the public that everything was okay. Apparently, the FBI disagreed because after conducting an investigation, all charges were dropped against Senator Burr and they found no wrongdoing.
All right. The DOJ drops the insider trading. The same DOJ that's investigating the Epstein files.
Yeah, right.
So you see where this is going? No accountability. DOJ stinks.
He got off completely scot-free, which is shocking to me. We have a specific law against insider trading just for members of Congress. It's called the Stock Act. Stop trading on congressional knowledge. Cute, I know. But to me, this law looks like it doesn't work at all. Because here's the thing. Senator Burr, he's not the exception. To better understand how widespread this issue is, and if one party is doing it more than the other, I sat down with Chris Kardatsky of Quiver Quantitative, a company that uses alternative public data sources to help retail investors make better decisions. Because apparently, one of the best ways to do that is by tracking members of Congress.
Last year, we launched a portfolio on an app called Autopilot. Every month, it buys stock in the companies that are being bought the most by members of Congress. And since we've launched that last year, it's risen around 33%, I believe, whereas the market is up around 24% over the same time frame.
Is either political party worse on this? Does one party trade more than the other one?
We haven't seen any sort of lean one way or the other. We see suspicious trades on both sides of the aisle.
Are there any other examples of trades that you've been watching recently that you could walk us through?
Back in November, we noticed Representative Debbie Wasserman Schultz buying stock in a company called Viasat. And it really caught our eye because it was the first time we'd seen her buy the stock. It was the first time we'd seen any member buy the stock.
Okay, so Debbie Wasserman Schultz sits on the Appropriations Committee and the Subcommittee on Military Construction. That's not a good look right off the bat.
And then in December, it was announced that Viasat would be awarded part of like a $4 billion NASA contract, and the stock just rose.
Looks like they got another big contract also with the Department of Defense right after the NASA contract.
A couple of years ago, we saw Representative Susie Lee buy stock in a company called Rheinmetall, which is a German defense contractor, which, I mean, that rang alarm bells for us because it's like it was a stock we hadn't really seen any members trade before, and obviously very tied into U.S. defense policy.
It's like they're doing a lot of work with the Army lately, tank modernization, but there's big money in that.
Susie Lee sat on a committee on military construction, and since then the stock's risen like I think 250%. Last year we saw Senator Mark Wayne Mullen buy stock in a company called Badger Meter, which really caught our attention because Badger Meter makes automated water meters, and Senator Mark Wayne Mullen sits on the Senate Committee on Environment and Public Works, and we learned that the EPA had recently passed a mandate basically encouraging cities to switch to automated water meters. The year following the trade, Badger Meter stock rose around 40% before Senator Mark Wayne Mullen posed his position. In April of this year, we saw Marjorie Taylor Greene buying up stock in dozens of different companies, and a lot of them were companies which we hadn't seen her buy before, and we hadn't seen almost any members of Congress buy before. So there's one company which stood out to us in particular, which was Restoration Hardware, which I'd heard of just days earlier when the stock price had plummeted following like the Liberation Day tariff announcements. That was when Marjorie Taylor Greene decided she wanted to buy the stock. And then over the next, I think, week, when the tariff announcements started to get rolled back, the stock rose like 30%. I think by our estimates in total, she made around $100,000 off of all those trades she made during the tariff dip. She's claimed that those trades were made by her financial advisor.
Guess what he did? He bought the dip. And that's what anybody that has any financial sense does when they know the market's going to be going down.
I mean, this tariff chaos stuff is crazy. 55 days, 2,200 trades. millions and millions of dollars. Are members of Congress just day traders?
We haven't seen a lot of crypto trades recently.
President Trump is also taking a victory lap today, signing into law the first ever major federal cryptocurrency legislation.
The trading meme coins in general definitely raises an eyebrow.
This all feels so obvious. Okay, let's stop there. After talking to Chris about these trades, I was a little confused and honestly pretty frustrated. I have to wonder, how is nobody going to jail for this?
Insider trading is really hard to prove. You need to show not only did somebody have material, non-public information that could have informed a particular stock trade, you need to show that they made the stock trade because of that information. So in the rare instances where we do see members of Congress getting convicted of insider trades, it's usually because they made a phone call to somebody or they wrote a text or sent an email.
Okay, so maybe we can't prove insider trading in any of these cases, but even if you don't buy this story that I'm telling you, even if you think that members of Congress are some of the most talented stock traders in the world, without backgrounds in finance and without trading on insider information, I would say two things. One, even the appearance of trading on insider information is a
It's Warren Daniel, District 46.
bad look. It erodes public trust in government. And two, members of Congress holding massive amounts of stock in American companies will likely impact their behavior, consciously or unconsciously. According to the data that we looked at, Democrats love owning tech stocks. I'm talking NVIDIA, Google, Apple, Palantir. It's all over these disclosures. So is it any wonder that we have such a hard time regulating these massive tech companies in the United States? Why would members of Congress vote against their own portfolios? Members of Congress should not be allowed to own stock in the companies that they are tasked to regulate. And it turns out the vast majority of Americans agree with this sentiment. Even the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, thinks congressional trading should be banned.
I mean, I'm in favor of that because I don't think we should have any appearance of impropriety here. Okay, but the other side of it, some people say, well, look, you know, the salary of Congress has been frozen since 2009. You know, when you adjust for inflation, a member of Congress today is making 31% less than they made in that year.
Okay, well, what about the people? What do you think how that has an effect on the people? If it has the same effect on you, don't you think you need to be fixing it?
Although I'm a little less sympathetic than he is for the poor members of Congress who need sketchy trading to get by on their meager $174,000 per year salary, which is more than double the average American household, by the way. Even the president said that he would sign a ban on congressional stock trading if it was to land on his desk. So what's the holdup? Well, it turns out there's a lot of disagreement on what an actual solution looks like. And you can see that reflected in the debates in Congress about stock trading this summer.
I sold all my marketable securities. I converted to cash. That hasn't done real well.
People don't believe that we are here for the right reasons. We have a problem.
Okay. We're going to break down the three camps for you. The first camp thinks there's no problem, that members of Congress aren't insider trading, that the Stock Act works just fine.
Would you vote for a ban on Congress members trading stocks?
Yeah, I mean, this is like number 1,000 on my priority list of things to
This is my neighbor, by the way.
care about. This is one of those stupid things that I've been dragged through the mud on. You know how much fucking money I've ever had in the stock market? About $20,000, and yet I've been dragged through the mud on this as if like there's some insider trading.
I need to make a call real quick.
Hey, this is Christopher.
Hey, Chris, it's Trevor. I'm just wondering, how much does Dan Crenshaw have in the market?
So we currently estimate that Dan Crenshaw has around $76,000 in stocks. A couple of years ago, he had probably upwards of $150,000 or $180,000.
The second camp thinks that there definitely is a problem. They want a ban on congressional stock trading, and they think that family members of these elected representatives should probably be banned from trading stocks too.
Our job is to try to anticipate and legislate for what we see is coming. And we should not have the ability to both have access to that information and be able to hold and trade individual stock.
The third camp is more mixed. They think that there is a problem, but they don't think that family members should be banned from trading stocks, or they think it might be okay for members of Congress to use blind trusts for their investments. So until more members of Congress coalesce around one of these camps, we're kind of stuck.
And the reason for all of this is that, quite frankly, members of this body are privy to information that the normal person just is not.
So again, we have plenty of protections. We have the disclosure. This is a completely unnecessary piece of legislation. It's going to create all kinds of unintended consequences.
I don't know how many people in the audience, how many of you don't want to make money? Anybody want to be poor? I don't.
There have been 19 bills that I could find in the House and Senate that have been introduced. Not a single one of them has been brought to a full floor vote. Now instead, we're busy arguing.
Don't worry. They're going to win re-election again. And again and again.
Arguing about whether or not the president and the vice president should be included in the ban, which of course they should. The current system isn't working. Sure, members of Congress have to disclose their trades now. So we're not really stopping this troubling behavior. We're just putting a timestamp on it. They're doing it out in the open. The Stock Act has clearly failed. It hasn't restored public trust in our elected officials. But you know what might help? A ban. If you'll excuse me, until then, I'm gonna have to go put my savings in one of those trackers that follows Nancy Pelosi's stock trades.
Yeah, pay attention to what Nancy invests in.
Oh, yeah.
So are you familiar with something called a family house or a family investment set? Are you familiar with this verbiage?
An alien house?
So there's something called an HNWI, a high net worth individual. And if I'm an HNWI, then I have more than $1 million liquid in the bank available for investment. And that allows me access to basically an insider trading type of environment, because you're talking to people that are starting companies. And I spent 20 years representing startups, finding investors, building companies, dealing with funding arms, hedge funds, etc. About 20 years doing this. And what I learned during that time is that the family houses do not have to comply with the same insider trading regimen that what's called retail investors have to deal with. And retail investors are people that are less than the HNWI goalpost set. So that if I'm a high net worth individual, I've got $1 million in the bank, I have access to information that others do not, because I am a possible investor into a limited liability corporation or a fledgling C Corp or a blind trust or whatever it may be. That these are all the financial vehicles that allow you to take funds into a startup, and you qualify for a completely different level of engagement, from taxation, oversight, and especially if you're dealing with government contracts, which I had a number of startups that I helped get money for that were 100% government engagement. Most of them were in the training and testing industry out in the UCF technical complex in Orlando. So that, and I've got 100 guys in my phone that are HNWIs that a bunch of I play golf with and are friends of mine, but they live under the same set of restrictions, meaning almost no restrictions, as the people in Congress do. So, and that's 70% of the stock market. 70% of the market is made up of family trusts that are full of HNWIs that do not have to comply with the retail investor standards for insider trading. So this is not just our elected officials. It's 70% of the stock market. That's not general knowledge in most of the investors. Oh, I'm going to go play the stock market and make money. If you're a retail investor, the odds are stacked against you. You might as well go to Vegas and just go to the roulette table and do red-black. 50-50.
All right. Sounds good. On our way. This isn't a plug for Vegas, is it? Are we sponsored by Vegas tonight?
The traffic in Vegas is down 35%.
There you go. Oh, wow. There we go. And the traffic at the Disneyland's down too.
Oh, yeah.
Do not get me started on Disney, please.
So we were watching a little bit on with all this Epstein stuff. We were looking into some things about the different people. Like one for one would be Thomas Massey, right? But when you look at his personal life that he shared online on his X account, we see. I want to. He's got his home. He's got an off-grid home, right? He's got it powered by a he took the Tesla battery out of a wrecked Tesla, and he hooked it up in his garage to solar, and has been running continuously for 4 years. Main power. And then when you look at the contraption and how he did it, and you look at his background, and he's not just a politician. And I'm not here on any politician's bandwagon, but I thought there's something interesting about it. To have your home powered off a Tesla battery you got out of a crashed Tesla, and you programmed it yourself, set it up yourself, and even created a way to harness that energy via solar. I think it's 1,700 kilowatts solar going to charge this battery. So he lives a pretty simple life. He's got a little farm there in Kentucky.
Yeah.
According to what we're seeing here on X.
It just doesn't sound like something that you could get away with, a regular person.
Well, that's why he said, you can take everything I have, I'll build it again. That's why when he was threatened to shut up, he told the White House to come and take everything he has. He'll just rebuild it because he built all this himself.
It says right there, U.S. Representative K14 engineer, farmer, inventor, and 30 patents. Appalachian American.
Y'all hear that? He's a U.S. representative of Kentucky. He's an engineer, a farmer, an inventor. He has 30 patents. Yeah. Appalachian American and MIT.
SB 93.
His pronouns are Paw. I need the laugh button.
Somebody said psychopath and propagandist.
Can we be honest with the American people about what's going on here? This is political theater.
No, I don't think Thomas Massey understands government. I think he's a grandstander, frankly.
The president's consultants have spent $1.8 million against me.
What he promised us was we would put America first.
Most Democrats are just fine with this kind of totalitarian state that the bureaucrats are pushing on us. But Republicans at least pretend to be against these things.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
This is not going away. How many agents or assets of the federal government were present on January 6th?
We are going to the Capitol.
The American public isn't buying it.
We're knocking out bump stocks.
What he's showing us here is not a bump stock. And I would hope that we've learned something from the COVID experience. Some of our science projects aren't the best ideas.
I recommend take the vaccines. I did it. It's good.
If you look at my colleagues' feeds now, they all look the same. Everybody but me has an APAC person. It sets up a fake fight that we all know here is fake. The compromise has already been reached in a smoke-filled back room here. You don't have anything over on me. Like, you could literally take everything I've got and I can create it again. I refuse to be a thespian in this failure theater.
There you go.
Can we be honest with the American people about what's going on?
So he said, you can take everything I have.
No, I don't.
I'll rebuild it because he built it himself. Right.
That's what they're painting the narrative as, yes. I don't really trust any of them right now.
Right.
To tell you the truth. But
so I want to pull up an article here. I want to show you his home. He has a Tesla battery powering his home. I'm going to see if I can find the here we go right here. Give me 1 second. Let me get my screen ready. For that share on the other side of the screen, I got to switch screens real quick. Let me. Oh no, wait, it's gonna go back there. Yeah, just send it. Here we go. It's gonna be an article, so I need screen 2. I wish there was a better way to flip between screens.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Got it.
Here we go. Right here. Check this out. I thought you might like this, Gandalph. So Thomas Massey powers his house with a Tesla battery, and the congressman made a video about it. Here we go. Maybe there should be a few. Everybody's going to be looking for wrecked Teslas now. Let's take a look at it.
Hi, it's Thomas Massey here. Some of you may recognize me as a congressman for...
Can you add my screen? Thank you.
Kentucky's 4th District. But this video isn't about politics. This video is about a quest of mine. It's January 1st, 2018, 9 a.m. We just rang in the new year. And this morning, I am driving to Georgia to pick up a very important ingredient in something that I plan to build this week. For 5 years, I've been driving this Tesla, but for 10 years, my family and I have lived off the grid.
He's been driving it for 5 years and charging it for 10.
Our house has been running on lead-acid batteries, about half the capacity of the pack that's in this car. I would love to have the ability to run my house off of the batteries that are in this Tesla. But there's 2 problems. Number 1, they're in my car, and I can't buy these batteries that are available in this Tesla. Tesla will sell you a power wall, but they are not selling it to people who live off the grid presently. My goal of integrating a Tesla-type battery into our off-grid power system has developed a new sense of urgency. The lead-acid batteries that have been powering our house at night are now on their last legs. They are emitting their dying gasps of electrons, and their capacity is probably about 1/8 of what it was when they were new. Now, for years, I've been anxiously reading and awaiting the Tesla announcements about their power wall, and I think it's going to be a great system. The problem is it's not available to people who are off the grid, and I need one this month. So I am going to try and build my own power wall. I think I can do it for about half the price per kilowatt hour of the commercially available power wall, but more importantly, it will be compatible with my 48-volt off-grid system. So there are basically 2 steps in building your own power wall. Number 1, you have to acquire a big honking Tesla battery. And number 2, you have to integrate that into your home power system, hopefully without burning your house down, electrifying yourself, or wasting a lot of hard-earned money. Right now, I'm going to focus on the first part of the mission, which is to acquire the battery. Now, at first, I had the idea that I could just buy a wrecked Tesla and take the battery out of it. You see, Tesla sold tens of thousands of Model S vehicles, and hundreds of them have been wrecked, and many of those beyond repair. And I've seen them at auctions for sale. In fact, I bid on one of these cars in the hopes of purchasing it for less than what the battery was worth to me. I even looked at a car and almost bid on a car, but decided that the battery might be junk. So I decided not to bid on that car. But in the process of watching these cars sell at auction, I have decided that it's almost impossible to buy one of these cars for less than what the battery is worth. Now, can you buy one of these cars for less than the sum of the value of its parts, including its battery? Yes. So I could go to an auction site and buy a wrecked Tesla with a salvage title and get the battery out of that, but I would still have several thousands of dollars to recoup beyond the value of the battery. And therefore, I would have to go into the business of selling door handles and dashboards and wheels and brakes and motor drive systems in order to recoup the value of that salvaged Tesla and come out ahead on the battery. So what I've decided to do is to find somebody who's already in the business of taking apart salvaged Teslas and removing the batteries and selling all of the parts of the Tesla. And from that person, I want to buy the battery only. I found one of these batteries and one of these individuals who's selling this battery in Georgia today, and that's why I'm headed down there. Now, hopefully I'm not buying a brick, a 1,300-pound brick, which is what this battery would be if it's not serviceable. But I have reasonable confidence that this is a good battery because the person who salvaged the battery was able to get the screen of the Tesla to come on and to show that the salvaged Tesla had 32,000 miles on it when it was totaled, and also that the battery had 208 miles of charge on it when the car was totaled. So I have reasonable confidence that this is not a brick that I am going to put on my trailer back there and tow back to Kentucky today. And that's important because I am paying $15,000 for this battery. Now that sounds like a ridiculous amount of money, but keep in mind, I don't pay any electric bills, and this battery should last me at least 10 years, hopefully 15 years. And a comparable lead acid battery, which is a far inferior technology, would cost about the same price per kilowatt hour. So that's why I'm headed to Georgia. It's about 450 miles from my house. I'm over 100 miles into this voyage. I'm almost to Tennessee right now. Pick up this battery, head back to the house, and then begin the process tomorrow of disassembling this battery and reconfiguring it for 48 volts, because the Tesla battery in its native format is a 400 volt battery, but it has 16 modules inside of it, each of which
Hey, Sheepdog, will you pause that for a second?
Yeah, it paused itself anyway.
Yeah, I sort of saw that. Okay, so I want to, my background is electrical engineering. Is one of my stacks of quote unquote knowledge. So if you take a Tesla battery, so he's talking about breaking up the pods within the battery. Do you know what a Tesla battery is made of? He's talking about lead acid. He hasn't talked about nickel metal hydride, which is the potential energy set that lives within a lot of these batteries. nickel metal hydride is the ecstatic component of the battery, the potential energy part. The Tesla battery is thousands of AA batteries. That's the truth. It's not a super advanced technology. It is thousands of vertically standing in series segments that are made into modules. And then those modules are voltage bucked up, because it's not the voltage that gets you, it's the amps. If you've ever done any welding, you know, especially TIG welding and MIG welding, that it's the amps that get you. I don't know that, you know, it's not like you've ever worked with metal in a welder before, Sheepdog. You know what this looks like. So that potential energy, when you're completing that circuit, is exactly the same thing that happens with this battery tech. So when Massey's talking about breaking this down into its component structure, it's just a bunch of AA batteries. That's it. And the thinner ones are triple. So it's not like when people break apart the Tesla batteries and they see what's happening inside of that structure within the pods, this is not a massive battery. You know, so if I go back to the original battery engagement, which is Niagara Falls, Nikola Tesla, not the Elon Musk Tesla, the original, the actual John Trump's buddy, Nikola Tesla, when he powered the city of Niagara through alternating current, because at the time there was a huge fight between Tesla and what's his name? I'm blanking on the alternate, but he was a DC guy, meaning direct current and alternating current. We're still fighting this battle. Yeah, there is no change in the battery technology that is significant in the last 45 years. None, zero. So that I can build a lead acid battery. I need a vat. It looks like a horse feeder for a 4-horse feeder. It's a big round metal thing, and I could go make a lead acid battery. And the degradation that Massey talks about is real, because the potential energy difference between the lead and the acid is what stores your electricity. So that we haven't made any significant steps forward in battery technology in at least 2 generations. So that this control of the power, control of food, control of medicine, these are all parts of the control model. And if I dare you to try and get your house out of the grid, because there's a smart meter at the edge that controls the entire system, and that's another part of the control model. So that if you think that Elon Musk has come out with some groundbreaking battery technology, no. A Tesla car battery is made up of about 12,000 AA batteries. That's what they're built out of.
Yeah, so he's just kind of full of it, right?
Yeah, right now he's got 4 years consecutive.
It sounds like he's trying to relate with us and like, right? I don't know.
Now he's really smart, and he's fixing to break it down for you what his setup is. This is something different outside of politics. I thought it would be interesting and something we could learn something from it as far as helping us off-grid people out there. If you get this battery for 15 years, that saves you more than 15 grand over 15 years.
But there's got to be something better.
Oh, yeah. There's other tech. I'm just saying that nobody's,
right.
As far as taking a Tesla battery and actually using that instead of, the regular batteries, the car batteries and stuff like they use. Setup.
Well, the other side of this, though, is the frequency engagement. If you're riding around in an electric car, you are bombarded by EMF. I mean, completely enclosed in an EMF bomb. I would much rather go travel 800 miles in my 6.7 liter V8 turbo diesel heavy hauler. I love that vehicle. That Baby Doll is that truck's name. And Baby Doll hauls the 14,000 pound living quarters horse trailer like a dream. That electric vehicles are not capable of that. I don't care how much you want to get blue in the face and tell me that it's better. You can pry my diesel vehicles out of my cold, dead hands. I'm not doing it. So that if you want to ride around all day in a Tesla, I'm telling you, you're frying your body. It is an EMF nightmare. Take an EMF reader into a Tesla at speed on the road, and you will see that you are bathed in 2.4 gigahertz. Same frequency that a microwave uses, same frequency that your AirPods use in your ears. You're frying your brain. So the pineal damage that is done riding around in electric cars is significant. I mean, really significant. You don't believe me? Take an EMF detector into a moving Tesla.
People don't think about that. Yep.
Which are about 24 volts apiece that can be individually removed and reconfigured into a 48 volt battery, which is what I hope to do over the course of the next week.
That's where I got the future. I said, Jack, he said,
yeah. You can see it's riding high without a battery in it.
well, it was that high because I think it's in Jack mode.
Yeah, oh, okay. Yeah.
It was that high when I brought it in.
But it doesn't look too badly damaged, but this is the donor car. He's had a rough life, but
I imagine if you had to pay the bill to fix it, you might want to part it out too.
the battery's going to get a second life.
I have equipment envy over that loading vehicle. I wish I had one of those.
That's too big.
January 2nd.
Wow.
The battery.
He's like, you call that a battery?
Oh.
Then he whips out his battery.
Dang. That's crazy.
That's arrived.
Hi, it's day 2 of my DIY Powerwall quest. Yesterday, on January 1st, I drove 450 miles to Georgia and picked up a Tesla battery out of a salvage Tesla and brought it back here to Kentucky, another 450 miles. So that was a long day. It's January 2nd, and I'm going to start wrecking this battery. Hopefully I can get it broken down into all the modules today. The guy that I bought the battery from is a super nice guy. His name is Mike. This was his 4th Tesla that he has salvaged, and he drives a Tesla. Mike was able to show me the salvaged Tesla that he took the battery out of. It was actually in really good shape. It was in better shape than my Tesla over here and had fewer miles. It looked like a salvageable car. The fenders, both front fenders, the hood, and all the grill work and some of the cooling radiators in the front were all busted. But it didn't look like it had a bent frame or any of the A-pillars or the rear fenders. None of those were damaged. But these are really expensive cars to fix because the used parts are expensive and the aluminum bodywork is expensive to perform. So he made the decision to salvage the parts off of it. And obviously it's probably a pretty good decision. I'm happy with it because I've got a good battery here that I'm going to be able to use in the house. Okay, just a couple quick close-ups. This is the Torx bit that has the security feature on it. You can see it's not going to engage the bolt unless it's got the hole in the end of it, because that little nub. This is the 10 millimeter Allen key. There are several places on the battery where these big bolts are. And then finally, you should take note that this battery is a 400 volt battery. And unless you're trained and know what you're doing, you really shouldn't cut into one of these batteries or open them up. This is the pair of high voltage gloves that I'm going to be wearing when I work on the battery terminals.
So each one of those modules that you see, that he's pulling out right now, those are just a series.
All right, so here are the 16 modules out of the Tesla.
End to end of AA batteries. That's it. Like thousands of them, about 985 or 1,012 per segment. Just AA batteries. There's nothing new about this technology, people. This is not alien lost patents. They're just a bunch of AA batteries.
Can we just fast forward to where he electrocutes himself?
He's got gloves on.
Battery. It's still leaking a little bit of Tesla juice. That's the coolant that they use to keep the batteries uniform and to heat them up or to cool them, whenever the case may be. And in this box I just got is the secret sauce that's going to make it all work. It's from EVTV, Jack Reichard in Missouri. Some connectors. Oh, wow. Looks like I got a mug. I didn't order a mug, but I got a mug. That's pretty cool. He's even sent me a satchel. I'm liking this guy already. These are cable harnesses to connect the modules together. A DC to DC converter. And somewhere in here is a computer that can talk to all of this. There's the computer and the all-important fuse.
It looks like a lot of work.
It's January 7th, and we have success. I'm very excited. Those are all of the voltages in the 4 modules that I got hooked up, thanks to the equipment from EVTV, Jack Reichard in Missouri. I built this box. I put the stuff in this box that he sent. I'm calling this Jack in the Box. So, because Jack is the one who came up with all the stuff that's in the box.
And it blows up.
So this box has a positive contactor and a negative contactor. There's a pre-charge resistor. These are the cables coming in from the battery. They will go out from those 2 terminals to my inverters at 48 volts. But the magic beans are right here. This is the circuit board that Jack sells that talks to the Tesla modules, specifically the battery management system on each of the Tesla modules. You can see a blinking little light there. That's the battery management system. But this is just a test. I just got this working. I'm super excited. Obviously, I don't have all the modules hooked up. I've got 4 modules hooked up, and I wanted to make sure it worked. I didn't want to blow everything up at once. But with 4 modules working now, I'm going to wire the whole deal together and take it into my battery room and throw out the old lead acid batteries. This is a quick peek at my inverter system. What you see here, these four deals are Outback inverters. They take 48 volts and they make 120 volts AC from a 48 volt DC battery. Now there are four of them. They are in series parallel so that I can get 240 volts from a pair, and this goes into my regular circuit breaker, household circuit breaker box. And then there are two pair of these so that I can get more current, more amperage, if you put them in parallel. Now over here, these are called max power point trackers. These take the voltage from the solar array, which right now you can see it's 105 volts, the solar panels, but the battery is at 51.6 volts. So these step down the power from a higher voltage to a lower voltage to charge batteries. And so this is all based on 48 volts. The inverters are expecting to see 48 volts from the batteries. The max power point trackers, i.e. The solar panel chargers, they expect to charge 48 volt batteries. And that's why I had to take the Tesla pack apart. It's a 400 volt battery, and rearrange the modules to make it into a 48 volt battery. Now we're going to go in the battery room here. This is just on the other side of the wall. You can see what lead acid batteries look like, and I'll be glad to get rid of these. This is a ionometer, measures the specific gravity of the acid in the batteries to tell you how full the batteries are, because voltage doesn't necessarily tell you the state of the battery on a lead acid battery. This is baking soda. In case things get nasty, you can throw that on the acid and neutralize things. You would not want to throw that on top of the batteries. These are discarded water containers. This is what it's like to live with a lead acid battery. They use water. They consume water when they get full, and you're topping them off, i.e. charging them. They will split the water into oxygen and hydrogen, and you lose water, so you have to replace it. And you can see these batteries are 11 years old. They have a 10-year warranty. Here I wired around the cell because it went totally bad on me. These batteries might have lasted longer if I had put more maintenance into them. But these were $12,000 when I bought them 11 years ago, and to replace them would cost $12,000. And rather than live with all this maintenance and this mess, I decided to get the Tesla battery, so I won't have to add water to the Tesla batteries. If you're adding water to those, you're doing something wrong. I won't have to mess with taking battery acid out and seeing what the specific gravity is of the battery acid. I won't have to worry about having baking soda around. And the Tesla pack will be 85 kilowatt hours of storage, which should be enough to run our house 3 days, even without any solar panels. If we had a full eclipse of the sun, it would still provide power for 3 days. These batteries were about 53 kilowatt hours when they were brand new. Now they're less than 10 kilowatt hours. At this point, they're so used up. But today, I'm going to be moving these out and rolling those Tesla lithium batteries in here, and hoping to convert the system over. Okay, things are about to get real serious. These are my lead acid batteries. They're all disconnected for good. Never going back. Off. The sun is down. It's dark outside. My lead acid batteries are disconnected, but the lights are on. So that can only mean one thing. The house is running off Tesla power right now. January 7th. Here is what the system is telling me. It says we're using 1,300 watts. 25 amps at 48 volts. The system voltage is 47.88, and we've used 72 watt hours since I turned the system on. This is pretty daggone exciting. The power wall from a salvaged Model S 85 kilowatt hour car is now functional.
There you go. There's the house, the solar on top. All right. They have in Germany, they have other ways as well. They have this. Germany has developed a new generation. These are salt air batteries that could transform the future of clean energy storage. Unlike today's lithium-ion batteries, which depend on scarce and environmentally harmful resources, these batteries use simple materials like common salt, air, and water. This breakthrough enables long-term and sustainable energy. The true innovation lies in their durability. Scientists estimate that these batteries could last about 20 to 30 years with minimal loss of performance compared to only 7 to 10 years for lithium-ion. They are non-toxic, fireproof, inexpensive, and fully recyclable, offering a safe and sustainable alternative for households and industries and large-scale renewable energy plants. This innovation could make renewable energy more reliable and affordable for millions worldwide. And this is coming out of Germany.
The source is Fraunhofer Institute for Chemical Technology.
It's chemical tech.
Yeah, they have the salt lamps like that too that last a long time. They're like, they sell those right now, but this is supposed to be like, I guess, on a bigger scale.
Well, this all falls into the law of scarcity, right? So the way that the bad guys do their bad guy thing, that they inject a false scarcity. So the energy market is a false scarcity, which means you have to pay for gas, you have to pay to heat your house. You know, here in Colorado, technically we are out of compliance with statute because of the fire control from last year, because that one of the fires in Colorado literally started 300 yards from where I'm sitting, or not quite, 3/4 of a mile maybe. So so we aren't supposed to be able to burn firewood to heat the house. I have a 150-year-old heating solution in my basement that runs on real wood, and I've lost 3 large trees this year to wind, and I'm going to cut them up, and I'm going to try and not burn any propane this summer. So in the health industry, the law of scarcity is the wellness check. You know, in the banking universe, the law of scarcity is your mortgage payment. This law of scarcity engagement around energy is a huge lie. I'm sure that you've seen the clip 100 times, Sheepdog, about the guy in the 70s, the oil executive who says, "Oh yeah, we just made up the whole fossil fuel thing. The only thing more abundant in our realm than oil is water." Are you familiar with that clip, Sheep?
Yeah. Are you talking about Iran? I know Iran.
Well,
you got
so there was this oil executive. There was this oil executive in the 70s that came out and said, "Oh yeah, we made up the whole fossil fuel thing," because he'd been in the business in the 70s. He was retiring. He'd been in the business for 30 years, so that puts him back in the late 40s, early 50s. And he said, "Oh yeah, during the 40s and 50s, we just came up with this whole fossil fuel thing, and this is why it's important to get the ropes, or the twine and the rope here on this whole."
Yeah.
To go back to our 2012 lying to the public thing, the Jurassic Park series, of which there are like, I don't know, 7 movies now.
Yeah.
All they do is reinforce the lie of the dinosaurs. And that's not true. The big bones that we find are giants. That's the truth. The Smithsonian has covered this. So the law of scarcity around energy, this whole potential energy, battery engagement, getting off the grid, that's a very tall fence to climb, because once you tell the power company that you are no longer going to be in need of their service, that the statute police will show up and start charging you. It's the truth.
Wow.
The great segment, Chief. Really well done.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I figured you would like the. So we got a couple more things here I want to present. Let's see what we got. So we're going to transition a little bit here.
Powerful visions.
I can't hear.
Dreams to expand.
Can you hear that? Barely.
Barely.
Yeah. I don't like it when it's got. Let me go to it.
Sometimes when you upload it, it does that. I don't know why. The other one's good.
Okay, hold on one second. Let me go to it. Go to share screen. This one.
They're changing everything to meta because of the meta beings that are existing on this planet. Me and you. They know that our bodies are activating. They know that our bodies are charging and changing and ascending by the fucking millisecond. They started with certain apps to go ahead and throw the signal out there to each other that the times are here. The times are near. That's why they're just now making it TikTok. TikTok is that TikTok boom. TikTok is the countdown for what's really going on. So now it's time to roll out the third signal that the meta beings are here. We are awakening. We are charging. Things are not affecting our beings the way that they used to. We are not breaking down the same. It's like we're building up within each second that something is being broken down. Pay attention. Hancock showed you all of that. That no matter what the hell you're doing, that do not stop the powers that are naturally authentic, supernaturally authentic to occur in a planet where it's supposed to. See, the problem is some of y'all have been shown the signs and the synchronicities and the conversations that you eavesdrop on, but you wanted to laugh and you want to play. And it's okay because you're going to be looking real silly at the end of the day. That's why they're changing everything to meta. Because they're preparing and have been preparing for what's going on with us. They know, the CIA know, they all know. It's the same thing they did in 2020 when the sun heated up. They talked about the crown of the sun heating up and that this is dangerous for them. So they called it coronavirus. The crown of the sun is heating up. That's a virus to them. And why do they use the apps to express this? Because the apps are nothing but ways for them to collect your data, aka keep up with what is going on with you, trying to have and keep some sort of control over your data and what you are producing. But see, some of us are so damn awakened, you can't control this. All you can do is throw those little thought signals out there and those frequencies out there, but we transmute them. You know what I'm saying? But that's why they're using the apps, because they want your attention span. If your attention span is here, right, and we're utilizing this to distract you, then we also have to send the signals through these places where you are residing at the most. You see what I'm saying? This is what it looks like. Should I talk about this a little bit more?
Data harvesting data.
Yeah. Yeah. But we're
That's what
out.
it's all about,
We're
right?
out doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. Showed up.
So I want to explain this sentence, okay? Because this woman you just showed is spot on, but there's a deeper message in here. So metadata is the packaging in script language. I I write code. I have on and off for many years. Long time ago, I started writing code. The metadata is the specific data behind each transaction with the web page. A transaction is you working the web page of the app. So HTML is hypertext markup language. It's not a real language. It's just a referencing index. And that's what almost every single web page has to use in order to resolve to a session, which is someone engaging with the app. So that is called metadata. That is the real name for it. So when this woman talks about meta, us transing into metadata, how many times have we made a trans reference? Is it every show, Sheep? This whole trans messaging is so crucial here.
Yeah,
The Huxley text, which is Brave New World, as opposed to 1984, which is the Orwell text. In the Huxley text, it is predicted that we will adopt our demise by observation. And we've done that. Everyone holds a phone. All the history of what you do and the way that they customize ads, and we've all heard this happen. You talk about something, you get an ad within minutes. That's metadata. So pay attention to the meta word. This is a very important point. Well done, Chief.
Well done to the channel. Can you tell us the channel? I'll share that link out for that.
I shared it on
TikTok.
I shared it on the Telegram also, but I'll reshare it.
Another thing that was in the news was the Space Force and the connection with Huntsville, Alabama. That's what we're going to cover next. So we have footage of late anti-gravity researcher Amy Eskridge, who claimed that disclosure would come from Huntsville, Alabama, is now going viral following her alleged suicide. The buzz intensified after President Trump announced that Space Force Command Headquarters will be relocated to Huntsville, home of the Marshall Space Flight Center. Trump just placed Space Force at Redstone Arsenal, also in Huntsville. So we're going to play a little clip here of someone that got on the live.
Disclosure is going to come out of Huntsville, Alabama, out of Redstone Arsenal. Redstone Arsenal in Huntsville, Alabama is the biggest fucking deal that you've never heard of. It's the biggest fucking deal that you have never heard of. Because the fact is that we have deep and wide, extensive credibility that no one knows about because you're not supposed to know about it. Because it's in Alabama, it's obscure. You're not supposed to know about it. That's the point.
People that don't know what Huntsville is. Amy
People know what Huntsville is? Is that what you're saying? People don't know what Huntsville is. Huntsville is the biggest fucking deal on the planet that you have never heard of. Now, like, Huntsville is the Silicon Valley of government national security technology and intelligence community technology and aerospace technology. Huntsville is like the hub. Like, we are number 3 on the first strike launch list. If first strike happens, 3 targets, Huntsville will be one of them. Alabama. This is Alabama, dude, in the deep south. We're in the top 3 first strike. We're in the top 3 first strike because you haven't heard of us. That's why. It's on purpose. I started the Institute for one reason. One reason, the Institute. I started it as a public-facing persona to disclose anti-gravity technology through, because I told Mark this. If you stick your neck out in public, at least someone notices if your head gets chopped off. If you stick your neck out in private, fuck you. They will bury you. They will burn down your house while you're sleeping in your bed, and it won't even make the news.
That's a fact, Jack. So she'd been suicided, Arkancided. So there's some stuff going on out there in Huntsville, Alabama.
Of that girl that was talking about meta, her name is Star Brown Styles on TikTok.
So, Sheep, you remember a couple of months ago when it was all about Doge and disclosure of expenditures? You remember that?
Yeah.
The Doge site hasn't been updated in quite some time. And all the uncovering of these fraudulent expenditures. Look, there's no government money. There's just taxation. So it's all our money. So and Huntsville, Knoxville, there's a massive data center I used to work in St. Pete that is startlingly underground below the ocean. So that all of this infrastructure that we have paid for, NASA is a tunneling operation primarily. We can't get outside the firmament. My whole point is this level of disclosure, I have never seen anything like this. People calling out, sometimes at cost of life, calling out these transactions that are taking place. I've never seen this before. That's great research, Chief.
Yeah. That's all we got for tonight. I don't know if you got anything else, Gandalph, you want to bring, or Nadine, or you got anything else? What's today? Thursday. We'll be up 0900 Central Standard Time, having some hot tea or maybe some coffee. Huh? Oh, you made an advertisement? Hold on, I got an advertisement here to promote.
So if you watch the Chiron, you'll see sheepdogpets.com and an email address. Our primary sponsor is the Mushroom Ladies. They were on last night, and if you want to help your health, because there's humans that take this stuff too, go watch last night's show. It was pretty powerful. But we're attempting to get the news out. Shameless plug. I appreciate everybody here, and I'm a big pet guy. I've got 5,000 pounds of animals that I deal with every day at least. So if you want to help support us and improve your health, sheepdogpets.com.
So that's a picture of us this morning doing a show. Morning chat. We had a lot of good feedback from Cheating, Stu, Mickey, Kathleen, who? Delphine.
What happens in the morning in that chat? Because I don't do Telegram. Everybody knows this, but you guys are putting a lot of time in the mornings. What's that all about?
That's something we've been doing for the last few years. Just staying connected with the people, and it's the people that matter. We like to hear what they got to say, and we chit chat back and forth, and we all compare notes and talk about what may come and what we think could happen in the future, and
just anything that, it's more like you're having a conversation instead of they get to participate as well, and we have really good, nice conversations.
So it's just something we've been doing. We do it 7 days a week. I try to tell her to take a day off, but she says we have to do coffee with the dogs every morning. So
for now, just for now.
But we enjoy doing it, and time flies when you're having fun in the morning. Some people are at work or listening to us driving, or et cetera, et cetera. But it's just good to hear like-minded people coming together, because you don't really get a chance to talk to people that are and have certain conversations out in the public that we get to have, using technology and Telegram and to our advantage, and connecting with people that we probably wouldn't normally bump into at the grocery store, but without, so it's good to bridge that gap between the show and the people.
Well, I think it's international, right? I heard Bird make a comment the other day that you were bantering with people in like frickin' Australia.
Yeah,
was that an exaggeration?
Yeah. Australia, Israel, UK,
Britain.
Yeah. people speak up from over there and they tell us what's going on in their neck of the woods sometimes, and it's good to hear feedback from other places. So, yeah, Scotland, we got in the chat, Israel, like we said, the UK, Australia. So it's even better hearing their accents as well. Some of them kind of hard to understand, but
yeah,
it's awesome that how technology connects people worldwide.
Well, it's important work, and I just want to say out loud, I appreciate the hours. This for people that have never rolled up a show on a regular basis, it's easier to take care of all the animals on the property than it is to do this every day. That's a competitive race. So just thank you. I appreciate you.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
Well, we enjoy it.
We enjoy it. It's just it serves everybody, and it's all about that, and it just helps us throughout this process.
Can Nadine close us in prayer? And I'll let you end the show. I pulled the trigger before your video finished yesterday, bro. Sorry. Nadine, are you comfortable closing us in prayer?
Yeah,
she don't do the.
I've never really done any.
That's why I would love for you to do it. I think you have an important voice, and I would love for you to close. Look, I'll do it. I'll pray at a drop of a.
I'll probably just end up praying. I just want everybody to be protected and just feel loved and know that everybody's important. And I'd love to hear more shy people speak up on the Telegram chats in the morning, because we, everybody's appreciated. And I just want God to bless everybody, and as soon as possible, because everybody that's here, we get it, and it's really lovely having everybody that we have that's come together. It's I appreciate everybody so much, and I know y'all do too. I just want everybody to have everything that they want, including their health and their sanity. Right. Trying to get through all this stuff.
Agreed.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Was that good?
That was good.
It was excellent. Thank you.
We love you.
Oh, I love everybody here too. I'm really thankful to be a part of this in every little way that I can be.
That's all we got. Have a great night.
Good night, everyone. Love y'all.
Talk to you in the morning. Or the rising. What is this?
Truth in my step, no need to impress, not chasing thrones or borrowed fame. I move with grace, not with shame. I've danced through silence, stung through storms, for my worth and Now the rhythm calls me loud. Time to rise, time to be proud. I move with rhythm, light and sound, bracing my step, feet on sacred ground. No need to